Yesterday we were doing notes on identifying and applying rational applications. Y'all remember we did notes yesterday? Even if you weren't here, you can get them out of the blue bin. But we had an assignment on that yesterday. This is literally number one on the assignment. So just in case you were like stuck, I'm helping you and giving you one on the assignment so that way you know how to do the rest of the front side. And then remember, when you get to the back side of yesterday's assignment, you pick A or B. You don't have to do the whole backside, but if you read the top, it says pick A or B. So this one or this one. Okay. Again, it's very similar to the notes, so check your notes or get a copy of them. But we'll do number one together, and then we're going to do number two together. This is stuff we've done before, evaluating functions. The only difference is that it's a rational function. It's not new, so it's a new application, I guess, of an old thing. It's going to be on your test Friday. It's going to be on your review tomorrow, so I want to make sure today you have some practice on it. So I'm going to give you this today too. So reviewing this from yesterday, this for today. Let's do this warm-up. Number one, let's read it. The length of a violin string varies inversely as the frequency of its vibrations. Now, real quick, when you see these words, varies inversely, you know you're doing what we learned yesterday. Varies inversely. Let me underline that. Key words right there. That means you're doing rational applications. So, what are the two things that we're talking about in this problem? It says the length of the violin string. Go ahead. I would circle that. You could do that on your assignment, number one. Length of the violin string, and then as the what? Frequency of the vibration. So there's two. There are two things that we're measuring here, length and frequency. Okay. It goes on to say a violin string 10 inches long vibrates at a frequency of 512 cycles per second. Okay. Now, what we learned about inverse variation is that you're just multiplying two things. It's the product. Remember that word? Multiplying. So the two things I have, what is the length that I'm given? The first one. Okay, I'm going to underline that. 10 inches. And then what is the frequency in cycles per second of the 10-inch string? 512 cycles, right? Okay. So here's what you do. Take those two numbers, put them next to each other, like you're multiplying in parentheses. So here's how I'm going to write it. 10 inches times 512 cycles per second. C/S. Okay. So I'm putting those two things next to each other in parentheses, okay, because we know inverse variation is multiplying two things. And we're going to set that equal to something else. Now let's keep reading. Find the frequency. If it says find it, you don't know it. It's missing. That's X, okay? So we have a missing frequency. And again, frequency is cycles per second of a 16-inch string. So do you see how we still have two things, just one's missing? So we have, let's go ahead and multiply these two things. So what are my inches on the second sentence there? So now we have 16 inches, but what's missing is the frequency, cycles per second. So I'm going to put X cycles per second. If you remember, or if you have them in front of you, the notes from yesterday, this should look very similar to number one, example one yesterday. Multiply two things, equals, multiply two things. One of them's an X because it's missing. You just solve it by dividing. Okay, and here's why. Y'all see how 16 is times X? We want to get X by itself, so I need to get rid of multiplying by 16 by the opposite, which is dividing by 16. So both sides I'm going to put divided by 16 to get X by itself. Divided by 16. Divided by 16. So you can put this in one step in your calculator. 10 times 512 divided by 16. And I already did that. This is what I get in my calculator. 10 times 512 divided by 16 is 320. Okay. So again, this is number, hold on, sorry. Okay, so that is literally number 1 on yesterday's assignment, kind of a gimme. X equals 320 cycles per second. Okay, but do you see how that works? Okay, two things multiply, one's an X, divide, get your answer. Okay, can you do that on 2, 3, and 4 of your assignment? Okay, so again, here's the assignment. I gave you 1, there it is. 2, 3, and 4 you do. On the back, pick one of these to do. Like one whole half, I mean. Okay, A or B. Now, I'm about to pass this out to you. This is the second thing. Again, this is very, I won't say easy. It's very doable. Y'all can understand this because we've done this before. But I want you to look right here. This is me reteaching it to you real quick. So look right here. We're going to do number 2. Okay, number 2 says evaluate. When it says to evaluate a function, and it tells you, look right here, f parentheses 3. Let go. So f parentheses 3 means f of 3. All you're going to do is take that x and replace it with the number 3. So I'm going to rewrite this with a parentheses 3 instead of an x. Here's how I'm going to rewrite this. 12 divided by, instead of x, parentheses 3. Do you see how this is the exact same thing, but x became parentheses 3? And then you just type that in your calculator. It's not nsolve because it's not an equation. You're just typing that expression into the calculator, which I already did. 12 over 3 plus 1 is 3. Okay. Can you do some problems like this where you're just replacing x with a number and then plugging it in and getting your answer? Okay. I'm showing you this because it'll be on your review tomorrow, because it'll be on your test on Friday. No joke. Even if it is the 1st of April. Okay, so I'm going to pass out the assignment for today, but you want to finish yesterday's, work on today's, you can do it. Okay.